I want to welcome you to the Self-Made Podcast, where we show you how to dominate your niche and make big things happen. Now, if you're a business owner and you're a salesperson, maybe you're just now thinking about starting your first business. One of the biggest challenges you're going to have is where to start, from accounting to taxes to all of the different things that most business owners don't think of. And it's often a thorn in the side of business owners every day. And there's a lot that business owners don't know, salespeople don't know. So I wanted to have a podcast interview today where I interviewed one of the top CPA firms in the country to help give us advice and clarity of what you need to do as a business owner, what you need to do as a salesperson to make sure you are covered, making sure you don't put yourself in a bad place. And that's the goal of today. So strap it on, get your pen and paper ready. We got an incredible interview today with Mr. Jonathan Frost with Frost CPAs out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Mr. Jonathan, are you with us today, buddy?
Yes. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Oz. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Jonathan, thank you for taking the time today and to spend time with us. You know, the people listening are business owners, they're salespeople, entrepreneurs. And I know that, your focus is you work with a lot of business owners. So first, tell us about your business, kind of what you do, what you focus on, and where you bring the most value.
Yeah, so we're a CPA firm out in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Been around for 6 years, and we primarily help business owners with their taxes, which is what everybody kind of thinks about with a CPA firm. But what's different about us is that we're taking business owners and helping them really grow their business in a very organic way, and having all of the entity structures in place, the proper amount of employees, the payroll, all of the compliance issues. Like, we really provide a peace of mind for business owners and entrepreneurs, that they've got somebody that is a partner with them, working alongside of them, a part of their team, helping them make decisions. Because I'm sure that most business owners and entrepreneurs can understand. I mean, there's it's kind of lonely at the top sometimes. It's difficult to make some of these decisions, especially when you have no knowledge. And so that's what we're helping small business owners and entrepreneurs with.
Now, let me ask you this, because I remember when I first started selling real estate, I was in my early 20s, selling a lot of homes. I was spending a lot of money. And I remember every time I bought anything, I asked for the receipt, and I had it in my console of my truck. I would put the receipts. And then when I couldn't put any more receipts in the console because it was full, I would then transport those receipts into the time I was living in my apartment, and I would go to my trash bag where I put receipts, and I put all those receipts in the trash bag. Come tax time, what I do, I grab me a glass of wine and my 5 trash bags of receipts, and I'd sit in my living room floor, and I would organize and count those receipts. So I know there's people listening going, that's great, but I don't have a team. Maybe they feel like they could do it on their own, right? Like maybe they're the solopreneur.
Yep.
And so my question is to the solopreneur, the person that's doing, let's say, less than $1 million a year, and maybe they're doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Maybe they're putting their receipts into a trash bag. My question is when is it too soon, right? When is it time to hire that CPA, the person to help you? Maybe it's a bookkeeper. And what is your advice to that solopreneur that's doing less than $1 million a year?
I mean, it's never too soon to hire a CPA or a bookkeeper. I recommend as soon as you decide to start a business, the first person you need to find is a CPA. You need to make sure that your entity is set up right. You understand how you're going to get taxed. You understand how your business flows, because until you really know that, all you're doing is just collecting money, and that's it. And then you have no idea what the ramifications are of collecting that money each and every year, each and every month. So it's never too soon. It's an investment that will pay dividends far beyond what the cost is of that service.
Right. And let me ask you.
What I mean by that is, yeah.
No, go ahead. Keep going.
I was going to say, what I mean by that is when you know what your numbers are, when you've built that foundation, when you have that foundation for your business, and part of that foundation is hiring an attorney. Don't set up the entity by yourself. Hire an attorney to do it for you. Make sure that it's done correctly, because when you build a house, you have to pour a proper foundation. The rest of the house is going to be, it doesn't have any support. You can build this really, really cool business mansion, and if the foundation is not correct, it'll fall. And so that's what most solopreneurs that I see, most business owners that I come across, that really come to me with that trash bag of receipts or canceled checks or bank statements or whatever, the first thing we do is lay out and show them how we could help them keep their books each and every month. So then they can make decisions each and every month.
You know why?
You have to be guessing.
Here's why you're here, Jonathan, because you are an authority in the field of entrepreneurship. And I believe not all CPAs were created equal. All right. I've had a lot of CPAs on my journey of being an entrepreneur, right? Many businesses, and some were easier, some were more difficult. Some knew their stuff, some thought they did. But I know that the person listening, they're like, great, well, who do I hire? I mean, there's a CPA on every corner. I mean, am I going to walk into H&R Block and they're just, get the right one and get lucky? I don't believe so. I think that this is a relationship with your CPA that is long lasting if it's the right one, right? You have each other's back, right? They're both knowledgeable. So who is this person looking for, and how do they know if they, who do they run from? Like what CPA knows that business world versus the ones that, just they don't?
Well, I would say all the CPAs that we have at J.D. Frost & Company are going to be a good solution for anybody, no matter where they are in the country. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but you want to find a CPA that is going to be entrepreneurial in mind. You want to find a CPA that's not just working for themselves, but the solopreneur themselves, because they're going to create you to just be a solopreneur. They're going to be very reactive rather than proactive, because that's the way that they're handling their business. So if I was saying anybody else besides our accounting firm, because I wouldn't be doing my job if I wasn't saying that we completely understand what business owners need and what they're going through, I would be looking for a firm that's local, that seems to be growing, that seems to be a well-run business itself. And you can probably deduct from marketing that's happening in your local area, from their involvement in the community, from interviewing their other clients. Typically, you can go and say, hey, can I have a list of references? You can find from their clients what kind of experience they've had. That's the kind of CPA that you want to be working with. That's the kind of advisor that you want to have. I mean, the CPA is the most trusted business advisor. I'm sure you've probably, there's financial advisors out there, there's attorneys, but the CPA knows what's happening in your life each and every year. They're the one that's going to be updated about whether you had a child, about whether your child's going to college, about whether you're trying to save for retirement. They have this checkup with you on your financial stability, your financial success every single year. And so you got to have somebody, you need to be looking for somebody, especially if you want to grow, that is growing themselves.
Absolutely. Now, by the way, you're listening to the Self-Made Podcast. We got Mr. Jonathan Frost here. He is the man when it comes to you business owners and salespeople looking for wisdom around the accounting CPA firm. And I know you guys do work with people all over the country. So if people are interested and they don't have a solution, go ahead and give us your website where people can get more information.
Yes, www.frostcpas.com. And then also a website, www.jdfrostcpa.com.
Now, let me ask you this.
That kind of shows you. Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this, Jonathan. Now, let's say to the solopreneur, let's say that there's and I have a lot of salespeople listening, right? They do anywhere between $0 and $1 million a year in commissions, or the business owner that's under $1 million. What is the biggest mistake that you see that person making that they don't even know that they're making?
Not being set up correctly, not seeking out advice, thinking that they can do it on their own because they're building their business on their own, supposedly. But what they're doing is that, like I said, they're accumulating all this money, they're accumulating this wealth, and they don't have any kind of a plan. And they're giving away dollars every year by not setting themselves up correctly. Especially those that are the solopreneur that's like, I don't want to spend the money on bookkeeping. I don't want to spend the money on entity setup. I don't want to spend the money on payroll. I mean, a solopreneur that sets himself up as an SCorp and starts to pay themselves a payroll can save anywhere from 8 to 15% every single year on their total income based on how they decide to pay themselves.
I know that that's
the options out.
I know that that's a question that a lot of business owners have, right? Maybe they're, we have everybody listening. Like, so what would be your advice to that person? What are the 3 steps, the things that are the most important to that person? Let's say they have nothing. Let's say they're just a clean slate. What are the 3 most important steps that they need to take when they're anywhere from 0 to $1 million?
You've got to set up an entity so that you limit your liability. That's the first step.
What type of entity?
Entity, if you LLC or an SCorp, either one. I personally, it's a little bit more expensive to set up an SCorp. I personally like the SCorp setup to begin with. That's what I recommend to a lot of our solopreneurs, because then I can grow that out. And once I start hiring employees and growing my company, and it gives me some more flexibility in the different ways that I can be paid.
Right, and there's a lot of other advantages, right, with the SCorp. I mean, you can do a lot of different things within the SCorp.
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, you can have different write-off policies. You can have different reimbursement policies that are a part of that. You can incorporate some life insurance and use that as a retirement tool for yourself and how you decide to structure that. There are a number of advantages to setting up that SCorp. Especially with the new tax reform that's coming out, you're able to, set yourself up to be able to take advantage of the 20% deduction.
Right.
So, that's the first thing, is setting yourself up. And that's what I'm talking about, like creating that foundation for your business. And that's in the entity structuring. And the second thing that I see a lot of solopreneurs don't do well is they don't pay themselves consistently. They'll make $20,000 and then go out and buy, the things that they can afford, a Land Rover, and then the next month they only make $5,000.
And they can never afford, and they can never get financed for anything.
That's right. Yes, exactly. So the SCorp kind of forces you to create a salary for yourself, and you need to create a salary. And this is what I talk about in my training program. You've got to create a salary for yourself so that you have a consistent amount of income, no matter how much you bring in. Because I see a lot of solopreneurs, they'll have good months, they'll have bad months. I'm sure you've probably seen that before as well, or heard from your listeners about that. Like, create this consistency. That's one thing that I preach a lot to clients, is consistency. Especially with the IRS, that's what they live by. They want to see a consistent flow of income, it's a consistent expenses, from year to year, and that will keep you under the proverbial radar.
Right.
And so handling that salary or handling that payroll for yourself and living off of a reasonable amount of salary is the second step. I would say that most business owners, they fall into having a really good month, and then they have a really bad month, and their cash flow is not predictable.
Yeah, they have a closing and they make $20,000 and they think all that money's theirs.
That's exactly right. We work with a lot of real estate agents, and that's exactly what happens. And one particular real estate agent that I started working with him when he was younger. We were filing his return on October 14th. He owed from the year before. He owed from the current year. And now we've worked with him to where he owns his own brokerage. He's got his own building. He's got a team of 60 agents that are.
Oh, that's great.
in his brokerage. And what do you know? The first thing we did was we formed an SCorp. We got him consistent. We took the guessing game out of being a solopreneur, and that created him being an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
It transformed him.
Right.
Because we had that foundation built.
And he has a team. He has you, and he has, I mean, now he knows what he didn't know.
Yeah, and he didn't want to do it, Haas. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to spend the money. But it's not spending money. It's making an investment. Like, you've got to make an investment. I keep going back to this foundation, but it's just been so apparent to me lately that what we do is we're laying the foundation for their business mansion. Like, we're the contractor for their business. That's what CPAs should be doing. Now, there's a lot of them out there that are not doing that at all. They're just sitting there filling out your tax return. That's all they're doing.
Right.
That's what's separating us, and that's what's creating such value for clients that we're working with. We're eliminating all the unknowns. I mean, can you imagine how much clearer it is and how much easier it is to work, especially as a solopreneur, to not have to worry about, am I set up correctly? Am I going to get hit with a big tax bill because of this large commission I got?
Yeah.
If you set up your entity correctly, there's no guessing in this.
Absolutely. And that's, I mean, delegate all this stuff. That would be my advice as an entrepreneur is get the team, delegate it, find the Jonathan Frost of the world and let them deal with it.
Yeah. And that's exactly right. That's what I was going to say. The third thing is don't do this stuff on your own. Right. Delegate it. There's an article recently that I read that, Hank Norman actually sent to me.
Sure.
I mean, it was talking about the rise of solopreneurs in America since 2014. And the thing is that most of them, I believe, are starting to pick up on this. Like, don't handle this business stuff on your own. Like, you're good at making money a certain way. That's why you started your business.
Well, you better be, if you're a business owner, you better be good at making money.
Right. You're good at bringing the money in, but what do you do once you got it? That's where everybody tries to figure it out by themselves, and they get themselves in trouble, like a client of mine who has over $114,000 tax bill right now that they didn't plan. There was no strategy.
I'll never forget the time, Jonathan, I got hit with a $100,000 tax bill. Before I had my team, I was in there, in the trash bags, and I get hit with a $100,000 tax bill. You talk about hurting. That hurts as an entrepreneur.
Oh, yes. I mean, and it's scary.
Right.
I mean, it's frightening, and you almost get afraid of. Like I've seen clients who are like they're afraid to make any decision revolving around the money, but they're bringing in like $400,000, $500,000 a year.
Right. That's great, man. Great advice too. So we got set up an entity, love it, pay themselves, and then and form your team, delegate it. Right. What other advice do you have? Anything else you want to add?
Really, tax planning. Lots of small business owners, solopreneurs, don't have any kind of tax planning. They think that, okay, I'm just making my estimated payments. That's good. I shouldn't owe any additional amount. Find a CPA that is going to show you in a documented fashion what your tax is going to be, somewhere around September timeframe, August timeframe. Do it that early so that then you can plan the next 3 or 4 months on either writing off some items, making sure that you get your mileage caught up. If you're a realtor, Mile IQ is a really, really good app. If you haven't used it, you need to go ahead and get it now. It costs like $70. Have you ever heard of Mile IQ, by the way?
I have heard about that. It's a great app.
Yeah, it is a fantastic app. Creates a report for you, but do tax planning. Like, find a CPA that's going to do tax planning, because the difference in tax planning and not tax planning usually is somewhere between 15 and 20% of your total tax bill. So go to your tax return, go look at what you paid last year, and if you'd like to save 15, 20%, you need to find somebody to do some tax planning, because with a little bit of a plan, you can save a lot of money.
What is your advice for people about paying quarterly taxes, right? I remember, that's was easier to do for me, right? Where it's like pay quarterly, where I don't get hit with a big tax bill at the end of the year, and just it takes away some of that sting. So what are your thoughts around paying quarterly?
Well, I'm a big believer no matter what, like I was saying before about consistency.
Right.
So if you're an S-Corp and you've got a payroll, then you're consistently paying money, you're consistently paying your taxes, you're withholding into the government each and every pay period. But if you pay quarterly taxes, it's not as consistent. It is when you're actually paying it. But my advice on that is create a tax account. And each time you're paying yourself a draw or you're getting a commission, you're going to take out at least 20-25% and put it into your tax account. So then it's remaining a consistent amount each time you get paid, and then at the end of the quarter, you've got that bank account already set up, and the money's already there, and you're not surprised by that quarterly payment coming up. Because I know, like at least real estate agents, the quarterly payment will come up, and they're like, okay, I got to get this closing, and then they'll be a month late on their estimate.
Sure.
Which is just wasting money because you knew that it was coming, and it just wasn't planned for.
Be proactive, not reactive. I love it, man. Jonathan Frost, buddy, you brought it, man. I love this advice, and I think that because seriously, this is exactly what everybody listening needs to make sure they do. They have their team set up, they got their entity, and it's the right one, and they're paying themselves, right? Maybe they have their payroll company that's helping with that, but like, they have got to form that team, and that's why I wanted you here to share that knowledge with everybody today. So as we wrap up, how do people get a hold of you? I know you mentioned your website, but for people that are like, man, I'm done, I need my team, and I'm going to start with contacting you guys. How do you want them to reach you?
Yes, yeah. I mean, the best way to reach me, I'm extremely active on Instagram at jdfrost.today. That is the best way that people get in touch with me, through direct messaging. We actually are able to help a lot of people through the content that I deliver on Instagram. It's free content, obviously. My YouTube channel is Jonathan Frost. I'd love for people to subscribe to that YouTube channel. I'm giving out free content all the time, talking from there. And then another way to interact with me, which has been very powerful, is through what we call our Rainmaker Club, because I want to turn business owners into rainmakers. And that is www.frostrainmakers.com. And go on there, subscribe to it. It's $9 a month, Hoss. And my billable hours rate is $350 an hour. And in that private Facebook group, I'm delivering content once a week for 30 minutes. And it is about all these issues that small business owners deal with, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and helping them create this foundation that they need.
Right.
Helping them figure out how to grow their business, and also connecting them with many other business owners that have already been successful. So
right.
Those are the best ways to get in touch with us.
And I love it. Jonathan, thank you so much, buddy, for your time today. You guys, you heard it here first. Listen, it's time to start talking about it and go be about it. Take action. You got a lot of great tools today, so take a look at your own business. Is it set up the right way? Do you have your team around you? Are you paying yourself the right way? And take those steps today to get past that next level. So go out there, take massive action, and we'll see you on the other side. Boom. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Hoss. I really appreciate the opportunity, man.
Yeah, man, that's good stuff.
When will this come out?
You know what? Probably in the next week or two. I'll find out here.
Awesome.
So and then I'll send you some stuff. Like an image and everything. If you can, promote it, that'd be great. I think it was a lot of good stuff in it.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would love to share it, post it. Blast it out everywhere.
Yeah, man.
Please let me know the links and all that kind of stuff. That'd be great.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it, Jonathan. Thanks, man.
All right.
Okay. All right. We'll see you.